The chamber stretched beyond comprehension. Ambassador Marcus Webb stood on a platform no larger than a car, suspended in what seemed like infinite darkness. Above, below, and all around him, thousands of alien beings sat in floating observation pods, their eyes fixed on the three humans who had been summoned to answer for their crimes. Marcus had seen many impressive sights in his career, but nothing prepared him for the grand assembly of the Galactic Council. The room was designed to intimidate, to make whoever stood at its center feel impossibly small. It was working. His heart pounded as translation devices hummed, converting the whispers of hundreds of species into a sound like distant thunder. Beside him stood his two companions, Dr. Kako Tanaka. The scientific advisor appeared calm despite the circumstances. Commander Jack Rourke, military liaison, kept his hands clasped behind his back in a parade rest position that projected confidence. Marcus wished he felt. They had been standing for 6 hours. No water, no breaks, no chairs. The council's first message was clear. Humans were not guests here. They were subjects being judged, a massive creature that resembled liquid. Metal flowing in the shape of a praying mantis raised several limbs. The chamber fell silent instantly. High Arbiter Vorn, leader of the council, spoke in a voice that seemed to come from everywhere at once. Species designation 794. You call yourselves humans. You stand accused of violating the sacred laws that have maintained galactic peace for 40,000 years. Unauthorized expansion beyond approved territories. Military development exceeding your classification level. Genetic modifications performed without council permission. Establishment of independent trade networks. 27 distinct violations in total. Marcus felt the weight of those words. 27 violations. Each one carried penalties ranging from economic sanctions to complete dismantling of human civilization beyond Earth. He had read the council laws carefully during the 32 years since humanity joined this organization. He knew what they faced. How does your species answer these charges? Vorn demanded. Marcus took a breath. This was the moment that would define humanity's future. We acknowledge that the actions described in your charges occurred. We reject the authority of this council to punish us for them. The reaction was immediate. Gasps, clicks, whistles, and sounds Marcus had no reference for erupted from the assembled aliens. Several translation devices sparked and failed. Overwhelmed by the shocked responses, a massive reptilian creature leaned forward from its pod. Counselor Vex had ruled his species for 3,000 years. His voice dripped with contempt. You reject our authority? Primitive species, you exist in space only because we permit it. Every civilization follows council law. You are nothing. Then why, Marcus said calmly, does your species control 72 colony worlds when your tier classification permits only 12? The chamber went dead silent. Vex's scales shifted from green to deep red, a sign Marcus had learned meant rage or embarrassment. That is entirely different, Vex growled. We are a founding species. The laws are structured to account for our historical significance. Commander Rourke spoke for the first time, his voice cutting through the tension. So the laws apply differently based on power. Thank you for confirming what we suspected. This council is not a government. It is a protection scheme run by old species to keep young ones under control. Silence. Vorn's shout reverberated through the chamber. You will show respect or face immediate consequences. This tribunal is not a debate. You are here to receive judgment for your crimes against galactic order. Marcus reached slowly into his jacket. A dozen security drones activated, weapons charging. He pulled out a small data crystal and held it up to the light. This contains evidence of protocol violations by 47 council member species. Hidden colonies, unauthorized weapons research, market manipulation, genetic experiments on lower-tier worlds, technology suppression to maintain economic advantages. We have documentation, communication, intercepts, and eyewitness testimony for all of it. A creature made of gas in a containment suit pulsed angry colors. Impossible. Where would humans obtain such information? Dr. Tanaka smiled slightly. We asked politely. You would be surprised how many species are tired of council control and willing to share information with someone who might change things. Vorn slammed appendages against the judgment podium. This council has maintained peace and order for longer than your species has existed. Your accusations are meaningless. We hereby revoke Earth's council membership. All human colonies beyond your home system must be abandoned within 1 year. Your military will be reduced to defensive forces only. Earth will enter supervised status for 500 years minimum. Marcus had expected this. The council always chose control over justice. He tapped his wrist communicator twice. Admiral Wright, they made their choice. A new voice filled the chamber, broadcasting on every frequency simultaneously. Acknowledged, Ambassador. Initiating Protocol Exodus. The lights failed. Emergency systems activated, bathing everything in red. Every display screen in council space suddenly showed the same image. Earth's defense fleet appeared on the monitors. Not the small force the council had documented. Not the 100 ships humanity was supposed to have. Thousands upon thousands of vessels filled the screens. Behind them, orbital infrastructure turned Earth's entire solar system into a fortress that made the Council's most defended worlds look primitive. What have you done? Vorn whispered, the liquid metal form trembling. Marcus looked up at the thousands of alien faces staring in shock. For 32 years, we followed your rules. We paid your fees. We accepted your limitations. But we also learned. We studied you. We prepared. Because humans have one advantage you never considered. We know what tyranny looks like. We have fought it on our own world for our entire history. We recognize the signs. You dare call this council tyranny? Vex roared. What else would you call it? Commander Rourke replied. You make laws you do not follow. You suppress species that might compete with you. You punish innovation and independence. On Earth, we have a word for governments like that, and we have a long history of removing them. Dr. Tanaka activated another display showing strategic positions throughout council space. Humanity has spent 3 decades making friends with non-council species, building alliances, sharing technology, creating networks you knew nothing about. You thought we were weak and foolish? We let you think that while we prepared for this exact moment. Born's form shifted rapidly through colors Marcus had never seen. You cannot win a war against the entire council. We have millions of ships, thousands of worlds, 40,000 years of military experience. You are probably right, Marcus admitted. But here's what you need to understand about humans. When we fight, we do not follow your rules. We do not have polite wars. We fight to survive. Total war. Complete commitment. We will burn everything, if that is what it takes to remain free. He started walking toward the exit, his companions following. Security drones moved to block their path. Let them go, Vorn commanded suddenly. The drones retreated. Marcus paused at the chamber entrance and looked back. You have 72 hours to decide, High Arbiter. Accept that humanity is leaving the Council and leave us alone. Or start a war that will cost you more than you can imagine. Choose wisely, because you only get to push humans too far once. The 3 humans walked into the darkness, leaving behind a council that had never been challenged and had no idea what to do next. The emergency meeting had been running for 14 hours straight. Fleet Marshal Karn stood at the center of the secure command bunker, his crystalline body reflecting the harsh lights and fractured patterns. Around the circular table sat representatives of the Council's most powerful military forces. General. Wrath of the Vex Collective pulsed orange with frustration. How did we miss this? We have surveillance systems monitoring every Council member world. Intelligence teams. Inspection protocols. How did humans build thousands of ships without us knowing? Dr. Vale, head of Xenotechnology Research, manipulated holographic displays showing human vessel designs. Because they are smarter than we gave them credit for. Look at these ships. They do not use our technology. They developed everything independently, using theories our science declared impossible. Quantum dimensional displacement, gravity manipulation, antimatter containment systems we cannot even fully analyze. Counselor Vex slammed a massive claw on the table. This is exactly why we have tier restrictions. To prevent inferior species from developing weapons they cannot responsibly control, they seem to be controlling them just fine, General Roth observed. Better than fine. Their coordination is flawless. Their ships move like a single organism. We have never seen anything like it. High Arbiter Vorn flowed across the table in an agitated pattern. The question before us is simple. Do we accept this humiliation? Allow a species barely to centuries in space to mock the authority that has governed the galaxy for 40 millennia? Or do we respond? Counselor Nix, a spider-like being from the merchant class, spoke carefully. We have leverage they cannot ignore. Earth itself. One planet. 8 billion humans. No matter how many ships they have in space, their homeworld is vulnerable. We threaten Earth, they will surrender. The room went quiet. Dr. Vale's holographic form flickered. You are suggesting we threaten planetary destruction? The Council has never practiced genocide. The Council has never been challenged like this, Nix replied. We do not need to actually destroy Earth. We just need them to believe we will. Fear is a powerful negotiating tool. Fleet Marshal Karn pulled up tactical displays. The Dreadnought fleet could be positioned in Earth's system within 48 hours. 800 capital ships. 2,000 support vessels. We deliver an ultimatum. Surrender in 72 hours or watch their world die. They will never believe we would follow through, Representative Lix protested. They do not need to believe it, Dex said, surprising everyone by supporting the plan. They just need to fear it might be true. Humans are emotional creatures. They form attachments to their birth world. They will not gamble with 8 billion lives. Vorn rippled with uncertainty. This could trigger the very war we are trying to avoid. Or it ends the crisis before it begins, Nix argued. We show overwhelming force. We make the cost of defiance clear. They back down. Order is restored. The vote happened quickly. 8 members approved the plan. 4 voted against. Fleet Marshal Karn activated military protocols, mobilizing Dreadnought fleet. 72-hour ultimatum begins once we reach Earth's system. All council members will be notified. All human colonies will receive the message. Surrender or face extinction. Far from the council chambers, Admiral Helena Wright watched intercepted communications from her command ship. The woman had spent 30 years in deep space operations. She knew how military minds worked. She had predicted this exact response. They took the bait, her intelligence officer reported. Dreadnought fleet is moving toward Earth, exactly as we calculated. Admiral Wright allowed herself a small smile. How many ships are they bringing? Current count is 800 capital-class vessels plus escorts. It is their largest fleet deployment in recorded history on our defensive positions. All Exodus fleet elements are at designated coordinates. Earth Defense Grid is fully operational. Operation Checkmate is ready on your command. Wright pulled up a communication channel to Earth. General Raymond Hayes appeared on screen, sitting in an office overlooking Geneva. He looked completely relaxed. Admiral, he greeted. I assume the Council took our bait? They are sending their dreadnoughts to threaten Earth, just like we knew they would. Hayes nodded. Excellent. They still think we are bluffing. They still believe Earth is a normal planet with standard defenses. They have no idea what is waiting for them. The civilian population is prepared. Evacuation protocols are ready. If needed, we can have everyone in deep shelters within 30 minutes. But I do not think it will come to that. The Council is about to learn a very painful lesson about underestimating humans. Wright studied the tactical displays. They think they are bringing overwhelming force to intimidate us. They think we will see their fleet and surrender to save Earth. They have no concept of what we have built. 20 years, Hayes said quietly. We have been preparing for this moment for 20 years. Ever since we realized the Council would never treat us as equals. Every year they demanded we limit our development, We smiled and built in secret. Every inspection team we showed exactly what they expected to see while hiding our real capabilities. Do you think they will actually try to destroy Earth if we refuse to surrender? Hayes was quiet for a moment. No. The Council talks about maintaining order, but they are risk-averse. They threaten big and hope their targets fold. When Earth does not fold, when they see what we actually have defending our homeworld, they will retreat. And when they retreat, the entire galaxy will see that the Council is not invincible. Admiral Wright checked the countdown. 48 hours until their fleet arrives at Earth? 72 hours until their ultimatum expires? Then we show them that threatening humanity's home was the biggest mistake they have ever made. I almost feel sorry for them, Hayes said. They genuinely believe they hold all the cards. They think their 800 ships represent unstoppable force. They are about to discover that Earth is not a target. Earth is a trap. And they just walked right into it. The communication ended. Wright turned to her bridge crew. All ships maintain silent running. No active sensors. No transmissions. Let the Council fleet reach Earth. Let them position themselves exactly where we want them. Then we reveal what humanity has really been building all these years. She pulled up a display showing Earth's solar system. To Council sensors, it looked like a moderately defended world. Standard orbital platforms, normal defense satellites, a small fleet of outdated vessels. They could not see the reality. Could not detect the system's phase slightly outside normal space, could not comprehend the weapon that Earth itself had become. Guardian is ready? Wright asked. Planetary Defense Intelligence reports full operational status, her tactical officer confirmed. All systems armed and awaiting activation command. Wright nodded slowly. The Council thought they were delivering an ultimatum. They had no idea they were about to face humanity's ultimate defense. A defense that would change how every species in the galaxy thought about Earth. 72 hours, she said quietly. Then we show them what happens when you threaten humanity's home. Then we teach the Council that some species do not negotiate from fear. We negotiate from strength. And we have been very patient while building that strength. The Exodus fleet drifted in the darkness between stars, invisible to Council sensors. Thousands of human vessels waited for the moment when the Council would learn the truth. Earth was not vulnerable. Earth was ready. And the galaxy was about to change forever. The Council dreadnought fleet emerged from hyperspace at the edge of Earth's solar system. Fleet Marshal Karn felt satisfaction pulse through his crystalline structure as he surveyed the tactical display. 800 capital ships. 2,000 support vessels. The most powerful military force assembled in 3,000 years. Begin full system scan, he ordered. Locate all human military assets. His tactical officer worked quickly. Marshal's scanning shows minimal defensive presence. 3 orbital stations. 40 defense platforms. 67 vessels ranging from corvette to cruiser class. No sign of the massive fleet they showed us at the tribunal. Karn's satisfaction deepened. The intelligence assessment had been correct. Earth's main forces were deployed elsewhere, protecting colonies and trade routes. The humans had left their homeworld vulnerable in their arrogance. Open all communication channels. Broadcast the ultimatum. His image appeared on every screen in Earth's solar system. Every device on the planet's surface received the transmission. Humans of Earth. I am Fleet Marshal Karn of the Galactic Council Security Directorate. Your species stands in violation of Council law. You have been found guilty of insurrection against galactic order. You have 72 hours to surrender all military assets and submit to Council authority. If you refuse, this fleet will sterilize your planet. Consider carefully. These are the consequences of defying powers beyond your understanding. Deep beneath the Swiss Alps, General Raymond Hayes watched the transmission without expression. Around him, the Crisis Management Center buzzed with controlled activity. Director Amara Okonkwo, head of Unified Defense Initiative, looked to him for guidance. Do we respond? She asked. Not yet, Hayes said calmly. Let them position their forces exactly where we want them. How long until they reach optimal deployment? A tactical coordinator checked displays. Completely insane. Earth was not defended by a few orbital platforms. Earth was a weapon surrounding the entire planet, extending hundreds of thousands of kilometers into space. A lattice of energy structures materialized. Thousands of installations, hundreds of thousands of weapon platforms, all connected by streams of coherent energy that made the planet look like it was wrapped in glowing geometric patterns. By the void, Karn whispered, "What is that?" His science officer's voice shook. "Marshal, that defensive grid is generating more power than our entire fleet combined. It is not shield technology. It is not conventional weapons. It is something completely outside Council science." Then the voice came, not through communication channels, but directly into the quantum processors of every Council ship simultaneously. The voice was calm, synthetic, vast. "I am Guardian, Earth's planetary defense intelligence. Council fleet, you have entered sovereign human space with hostile intent. This constitutes an act of war. You have 60 seconds to begin retreat protocols. Any aggressive action will be met with overwhelming response. This is your only warning." Karn's command deck descended into panic. Officers shouted over each other. Ships in the fleet began sending desperate messages requesting orders. Some vessels were already breaking formation. "This is a bluff," Karn roared, trying to restore order. "An artificial intelligence trying to frighten us. All ships hold position. Prepare to demonstrate our superior firepower," Guardian interrupted. 50 seconds. "I should clarify, Fleet Marshal. I am not threatening you. I am informing you of certainty. I have calculated 18,412 possible engagement scenarios. You survive 0 of them. I offer mercy because humanity prefers peaceful resolution when possible. But if you force engagement, I will eliminate your fleet with complete efficiency." "Impossible." Karn looked at his weapons officer. "Target that transmission source and show them we cannot be intimidated by parlor tricks." The moon split open. Sections of the lunar surface separated, moving on massive hinges, revealing that Earth's satellite was not natural at all. It was a weapons platform the size of a moon, camouflaged for centuries. The surface panels pulled back, exposing weapons of incomprehensible scale. 40 seconds, Guardian continued. "The moon houses 612 independent artillery systems, each one capable of planetary destruction. They are currently targeting your supercarriers. Would you like a demonstration?" A single purple beam, barely a meter wide, reached out from the moon. It touched the shield of a Council escort frigate. The ship vanished. No explosion. No debris. One moment present, the next moment empty space remained. That was a microsecond pulse at 0.001% power. I repeat, this is not negotiation. This is your final opportunity to leave this system alive. General Hayes finally opened a communication channel from Earth's surface. His face appeared on every Council ship's display. "Fleet Marshal Karn, I will be direct. Leave our system. You came here to intimidate us with threats of genocide. Congratulations, you have made the worst tactical error in your civilization's history. You have 2 choices. Retreat or die. 20 seconds. Karn looked at his fleet, looked at the impossible defensive grid surrounding Earth. His tactical computers ran combat projections. Every single scenario ended with total fleet destruction. All ships, his voice was hollow. Emergency retreat. Maximum speed. Execute immediately. Council fleet did not retreat with dignity. They fled. Ships collided with each other in panic. Vessels miscalculated hyperspace jumps and vanished to unknown destinations. Within 3 minutes, the most powerful military force in Council, history was running like terrified animals. Guardian's voice resonated one final time across all Council frequencies. Inform the Galactic Council that Earth's patience is exhausted. Any further incursion will be considered invasion. We will respond with extreme prejudice. Humanity is no longer requesting representation. We are establishing independence. You have been warned." In the Crisis Management Center, General Hayes allowed himself a smile. That went better than expected. Director Okonkwo stared at the displays showing the fleeing council ships. They never suspected. 20 years we built Guardian. 20 years we transformed Earth into a fortress. They never knew. They scanned for ships and conventional weapons, Hayes said. They never considered that Earth itself could be alive, that our entire planet could be a defensive system. They think in terms of fleets and territories. We think in terms of survival. Above Earth, Guardian continued its vigilance. 1 trillion quantum processors monitoring every approach vector, every possible threat, every scenario. Humanity had shown the galaxy that threatening their home was a fatal mistake. Now they would see what came next. The emergency session of the Galactic Council was absolute chaos. 400 species representatives shouted simultaneously. Translation systems failed under the strain. High Arbiter Vorn had completely lost control of the proceedings. Order. Vorn amplified his voice to painful levels. Order, or I, clear this chamber. The noise reluctantly subsided. On the central display, footage played on repeat. The Council's dreadnought fleet fleeing Earth in complete disarray. Ships destroyed in collisions. Vessels lost to navigation errors during panicked jumps. The prestigious Council military humiliated without a single shot fired. Fleet. Marshal Karn stood at the center accepting responsibility. His crystalline form had darkened with shame. The intelligence failure was complete. Earth's planetary defense represents technology centuries beyond our capabilities. What appeared to be a standard world is actually the most fortified position we have ever encountered. How did we miss this? Counselor Thex demanded, though his earlier arrogance was gone. We had monitoring teams on Earth for 30 years. Dr. Vale appeared via hologram. Because humans excel at deception. They showed us exactly what they wanted us to see. Obsolete defense platforms that were really training equipment. Energy signatures carefully modulated to suggest limited development. Meanwhile, they built their real defenses in dimensional phase space, where our sensors could not detect them. That technology should not be possible. Representative Lix protested. Yet it exists, Dr. Vale replied. Humans approached quantum dimensional theory from completely different angles than Council science. They were not constrained by our assumptions. They innovated while we refined old methods. Counselor Nix spoke carefully. The question is simple. Do we accept this humiliation? Allow a rogue species to mock Council authority? Or do we respond with our combined strength? General Roth of the Vex Collective pulsed frustrated orange. You saw the data. Earth's defensive grid alone could destroy our entire military. That assumes they have no other surprises waiting. Their fleet is still out there. Hundreds of thousands of ships we cannot properly track. This is not a war we can win, so we surrender. Vex roared. We who have maintained order for 40,000 years surrender to a species barely 2 centuries in space? A voice spoke from the chamber entrance. There is a third option. Every head turned. Ambassador Marcus Webb stood at the door with Commander Rourke and Dr. Tanaka. He walked to the center without invitation, footsteps echoing in sudden silence. You have no authority here, Vorn stated without his usual commanding tone. Earth is no longer a council member. Exactly, Marcus agreed, stopping at the center floor. We are not council members, which means we can speak truth without diplomatic games. Let me be very clear about humanity's position. He activated a holographic projector showing a star map. Human colonies glowed blue. Council space showed red. The map revealed what the Council had been ignoring. In 32 years, humanity had established presence at 700 locations across the galaxy. You think you have a 700 location problem, Marcus said? You do not. You have a philosophy problem. For 40,000 years, the Council operated on one assumption. That you represent the apex of civilization. That every species joining must accept your authority, your technology, your limitations. You created a system where innovation is punished, where independence is crushed, where younger species exist to serve older ones. That is a gross mischaracterization, Vorn protested. Is it? Commander Rourke produced a data crystal. This contains analysis of council trade patterns over 5,000 years. 97% of wealth flows to founding species. Lower-tier species are kept deliberately underdeveloped. Dependent on council technology, they are forbidden to improve. The entire system maintains the status quo. Dr. Tanaka spoke next. You call it economic management. We call it exploitation. The council is not a government. It is an empire pretending to be democracy. And like all empires, you became complacent. You forgot that eventually someone refuses to play by rules designed to keep them powerless. Marcus took control again. Here is humanity's offer. One time. One chance. The council reforms immediately. Real representation for all species. End the tier system. Open technology sharing. Fair trade policies. Transform from empire into actual democratic coalition. It's impossible, Dex declared. The tier system exists for stability. Without it, chaos would reign. Without it, competition happens, Marcus corrected. Innovation. Progress. Things that threaten species like yours, who have coasted on ancient accomplish. Mints for millennia. But here is reality, counselor. Change is coming whether you accept it or not. While Earth withdraws from the council, we are not isolating. We are forming alliances. The star map changed, showing new connections. Dozens of non-council species previously dismissed as too primitive. Now linked to human space through agreements, pacts, technology exchanges. These are the Navara Confederation, the Talrin Republic, free colonies of the Sagittarius Arm. Species you dismissed or ignored. We offer them what you would not. Partnership as equals. Trade without exploitation. Technology without restrictions. They are accepting. Vorns form roiled with agitation. You are creating rival power structures. This is exactly the instability the council prevents. You mean the competition the council suppresses? Commander Rourke said. You had 40,000 years of monopoly. That era ends now. You must earn your position instead of inheriting it, Marcus continued. If the council refuses reform, humanity and our allies will ignore you. We build our own networks. Our own security? Our own technology base? We accept any species wanting to join as equals. In 50 years, maybe 100, you become irrelevant. A declining empire watching the future happen without you. If we choose to stop you by force, Dex challenged. Marcus met his gaze steadily. Then you start a war you cannot win. Earth was one planet's defense. We have 700 colonies, each developing defenses, innovations. Admiral Wright commands 200,000 ships, with more launching daily. Unlike your standardized fleets operating on doctrine unchanged for centuries, human forces adapt, learn, evolve. Every engagement makes us stronger. He leaned forward, voice dropping. But it does not need to be war. That is the third option. Reform. Adapt. Join the new era instead of fighting it. We do not want to conquer the galaxy. We do not want to rule anyone. We want freedom to grow, explore, reach our potential without artificial limits imposed by species afraid of competition. Silence filled the chamber. Marcus could see calculations behind alien eyes. Pride versus survival. Tradition versus pragmatism. How long do we have? Vorn asked finally. Formal proposal transmits within 6 hours, Dr. Tanaka said. We request decision within 30 days. If the council negotiates in good faith, we participate. If not, the Navara Confederation formalizes, and you face rival power structures whether you want them or not. Marcus turned to leave, then paused. One more thing. Species within the council secretly agree with us. They are tired of founding species control. They want real change. They have been contacting us privately. If you refuse reform from within, we help them reform you from without. Consider that carefully. The 3 humans left, leaving the council to face uncomfortable truth. Their age of absolute authority had ended. How they responded would determine whether it ended peacefully or in fire. High Arbiter. Vorn looked at assembled representatives, seeing fear, anger, confusion, and in some faces, hope. We adjourn to consider this proposal. We reconvene in 12 hours. As the chamber emptied, Counselor Thex approached Vorn. You are not actually considering this? Vorn's form rippled uncertainly. I am considering survival, Thex. Something your pride prevents you from seeing. Showing weakness now would be fatal. We already showed weakness when our fleet ran from one planet. The only question is whether we adapt or guarantee our own destruction. Vex stalked away, but Vorn noticed something. Several counselors remained, quietly approaching to discuss the human proposal. Representatives from species that had long resented founding species dominance. Perhaps the humans had not just threatened. Perhaps they had offered salvation from a system dying for centuries, kept alive only by momentum and fear. The choice ahead would define the next age of civilization. Vorn hoped the Council could still make wise choices. If not, humans had made their alternative clear. After seeing Earth's defenses, Vorn was not sure which future frightened them more. The vote took 14 days instead of 30, not because the decision was easy, but because once real discussion began, the Council fractured faster than anyone anticipated. The final numbers were decisive. 243 species voted for comprehensive reform. 112 voted against. 45 abstained. The Galactic Council, as it had existed for 40,000 years, was dissolved. In its place rose the Galactic Confederation of Free Worlds. The transformation happened in stages. But the first was symbolic and powerful. The Grand Amphitheater, that monument to hierarchical power, was dismantled. Construction began on the Assembly of Equals, a space station where every species, regardless of age or technology level, would have identical representation. Marcus Webb stood in an observation deck of the partially completed structure. Watching construction drones work in vacuum, beside him, former High Arbiter Vorn observed the same sight. It is strange, Vorn said quietly. I dedicated 300 years to maintaining the old order. I believed in it. Now, I watch it literally torn apart, and I feel relieved. Why relieved? Marcus asked. Vorn's fluid form shifted to contemplative colors. Because maintaining an empire is exhausting. We called it governance, but it was control. Control requires constant vigilance, constant suppression of change. I did not realize how much energy we spent keeping everything the same. Your species forced us to confront uncomfortable questions. Some species hated you for it, but some of us are grateful. The ones who voted against reform are not going quietly, are they? No, Vorn admitted. Counselor Thex and his coalition withdrew to form the Sovereign Star Alliance. 73 species preferring old ways. They claim you destabilized the galaxy. Marcus shrugged. Let them claim what they want. We are not stopping them from governing themselves however they choose. That is the difference between the Confederation and Old Council. We do not demand obedience. They want tier systems and rigid hierarchies. Their choice. They just cannot enforce it on others anymore. A communication alert interrupted. Admiral Helena Wright appeared on holographic display. She looked tired, but satisfied. Ambassador, the last of the Exodus fleet returned to Earth. Operation Homecoming is complete. Smiled. How many came back? All of them. Every ship, every crew member. We demonstrated strength, made our point, and now we come home to rebuild. Also, 17 requests from non-human species asking to visit Earth. They want to see Guardian study our systems. Approved, Marcus said immediately. Set up exchange programs like we discussed. Full technology sharing with any Confederation member wanting it. That includes defensive capabilities. Vorn made a surprised sound. You would share the technology making Earth nearly invincible? Of course, Marcus said. The whole point was freedom and cooperation, not hoarding power. If everyone has strong defenses, the galaxy becomes more stable. The Old Council kept species weak to control them. We make everyone strong because we want partners, not subjects. Commander Rourke entered the observation deck with Dr. Tanaka. People who define themselves by dominance cannot comprehend mutual benefit. Let them build their little empire. When their citizens see what life is like in the Confederation, they will leave. Dr. Tanaka pulled up holographic displays showing economic projections. Preliminary trade numbers are extraordinary. Without council tariffs and tier restrictions, commerce increased 300% in 2 weeks. Species that could barely afford basic technology are now developing innovations. The Talrin Republic announced they solved faster-than-light communication without quantum entanglement. They developed it in isolation because Council science said it was impossible. Turns out, it is very possible when you are not constrained by 40,000 years of dogma. Vorn absorbed this, form shifting to deep blue, indicating profound emotion. We held back the entire galaxy. For millennia. All those innovations that never happened because we insisted there was only one way. You are here now, Marcus said gently. You voted for change? You are helping build something better. That is what matters. Priority alert flashed. General Hayes appeared from Earth Command. We have a situation. 3 Sovereign Alliance vessels crossed into Confederation space near Kepler frontier. They demand the colony submit to Alliance authority and reject human corruption. Marcus and Admiral Wright exchanged glances. The colony's response. Wright asked. The colonists told them to leave, then asked for military support. Time to get ships there? Wright checked tactical displays. For hours at quantum displacement speeds, but we have 3 Confederation task forces within 2 hours. 1 human, 1 Talrin, 1 Valorian. Marcus understood immediately. A joint response. Perfect. Coordinate with our allies. Make clear this is a Confederation operation, not just humanity. Rules of engagement. Defend the colony. Protect Confederation citizens. But avoid casualties if possible. We are not trying to prove we can kill them. We are trying to prove they cannot intimidate us. 4 hours later, Sovereign Alliance ships faced not overwhelming force, but something more frightening. Unity. Human vessels fought alongside. Talrin energy ships and Valorian biocruisers in perfect coordination. Different technologies complementing each other. The Alliance ships withdrew without firing. More importantly, footage of the joint operations spread across every communication network. Species within the Sovereign Alliance saw what cooperation knew. Kedlike saw former council members working as genuine equals with species their old government dismissed as primitive. Within a week, 6 species withdrew from Sovereign Alliance to join the Confederation. Within a month, 20 more followed. 6 months after Earth's confrontation with the Council, Marcus stood on that same observation deck watching the Assembly of Equals host its first full session. The circular chamber held representatives from 318 species. The original Reform Coalition plus dozens who asked to join. No High Arbiter. No ruling council. No founding species. Just equals voting on issues affecting them all. It will not be perfect, Vorn observed. There will be disputes, conflicts, species that abuse the system. Of course, Marcus agreed. Democracy is messy, but it is better than the alternative. At least now when conflicts happen, everyone has a voice. Nobody dictates from above. Dr. Tanaka approached with a datapad. Earth's latest census results. We are now a minority on our own planet. Kus read the numbers and laughed. Really? With open immigration policies, Earth became the galaxy's cultural center. 17 species established permanent populations. More non-humans in New York than humans now. Good, Marcus said firmly. That was always the point. Not human dominance. Human freedom. And freedom means everyone is welcome to build a life wherever they choose. Admiral Wright's voice came over com systems. All stations, this is Fleet Command. Pleased to announce completion of Confederation Defense Initiative. Every member species now has access to quantum displacement technology, dimensional phase shielding, and Guardian-class defensive AI. The galaxy is more secure than it has been in recorded history. Marcus watched the assembly in session. Species that had been enemies for millennia working together. Young species treated as equals to ancient ones. Innovation flourishing as ideas flowed freely across cultural boundaries. Commander Rourke joined them. You know, they will put you in history books. First human to dissolve a 40,000-year-old empire. I did not dissolve anything, Marcus protested. I just pointed out the empire was already dead. It had been dead for centuries. Nobody wanted to admit it. Still not a bad legacy, no, Marcus corrected, looking at the diverse assembly working together. I prefer being remembered as one of the people who helped build something better. Far away on Earth, General Hayes stood before Guardian's quantum processors. The AI's avatar appeared, a simple humanoid form designed not to intimidate. General Hayes, Guardian greeted. You seem contemplative, just thinking how close we came to war. If the Council had attacked, instead of retreating, billions would have died. Yes, Guardian agreed. I calculated casualties in that scenario. Unacceptable, which is why I am pleased with the outcome. Humanity achieved goals without mass destruction. You think it will last? The Confederation? Nothing lasts forever, Guardian said philosophically. But unlike the Council, which fought to prevent change, the Confederation is built to adapt. That gives higher probability of long-term success. Estimated duration before major changes become necessary is approximately 800 years. Hayes smiled. I will take it. 800 years of cooperation is better than 40,000 years of oppression. In the Sovereign Star Alliance, Counselor Dex watched broadcasts from the assembly. His scales had faded from angry crimson to contemplative gray. Around him, coalition partners argued about strategies, about maintaining their alliance, about resisting Confederation influence. But Dex was not listening. He was watching species thrive in ways they never had under Council rule. Seeing innovation, cooperation, prosperity spread like a wave. An aide asked, Your opinion on proposed tariffs? Dex stood slowly. I have a statement to make. Transmit it to all Alliance members. The aide looked surprised but activated recording systems. Citizens of the Sovereign Star Alliance, Dex began, voice carrying the weight of thousands of years. I have made a mistake. Not small, but fundamental. Humans did not destroy galactic civilization. They saved it from our stagnation. I have contacted the Confederation. The Vexian Empire will join as equal members. Any species wishing to follow is welcome. Those wishing to continue the alliance may do so without us. The chamber erupted in protest, but Dex simply walked out. He had been alive 3 millennia. He understood the fundamental truth. Adapt or die. The galaxy chose to adapt, so would he. 1 year after Earth's confrontation, Marcus Webb retired from diplomatic service. He returned to Earth, to a small house in Colorado, where he could see mountains and stars. He was in his garden when a visitor arrived. Former High Arbiter Vorn, traveling not as official, but as friend? You are really done, Vorn asked. The Confederation's most famous voice retiring? I am tired, Marcus admitted. And there are younger people with better ideas. Let them lead. I will watch and advise if asked, but the future belongs to them now. They sat in comfortable silence watching sunset paint Earth's sky in impossible colors. Did you ever imagine it would work? Vorn asked finally. That the Council would actually transform? Honestly, I thought we would end up at war. I thought pride would blind you all. Marcus paused. I'm glad I was wrong. You gave us no choice. You made the cost of staying the same higher than the cost of change. Maybe the galaxy was ready and just needed someone to start the process. Either way, it is done. The Council is gone. The Confederation is here, and the galaxy is better for it. Vorn's form shifted to warm amber, contentment. Do you know what the greatest gift humanity gave us was? Not your technology. Not your military strength. It was permission to change. We had been the same so long, we forgot we could choose to be different. Everyone can choose, Marcus said. That is the whole point. As night fell, both looked up at stars. Stars that now represented not territories to control, but frontiers to explore. Not subjects to rule, but partners to meet. Humanity's patience had finally broken. But in breaking, it shattered an empire and forged something better. A galaxy where freedom mattered more than order. Where innovation trumped tradition, where every species could reach for the stars as equals, the Council went too far. Humanity responded, and the galaxy would never be the same. Retry Claude can make mistakes. Please double-check responses. Sonnet 4.5